And what I love about particularly some of those that are a more of a developing market, that don't necessarily have a more established insurance market, is you don't hear that's the way we've always done it, because they haven't always done it a certain way. And so it's very much...
So, if you guys are not aware of who this man is, this is the most interesting man in insurance, Rob Galbraith himself. So happy to have you here, for you to come and spend a few minutes with us. Tell us about what you've been doing, because you've been all over the world recently. So
It's true. So Arleen, Ted, it is so great to meet you guys in person finally.
Same here.
I know I did the Spot On podcast a few months ago when the book first came out.
Yes.
And it was one of my favorite conversations, and so I've always thought about it. So I've been following you guys in your travels, so it's so
and
great.
And we've been
that
following you, yes.
Yeah, it's really funny. It's definitely right. So my book, The End of Insurance as We Know It, has sold almost 2,000 copies now in just over 6 months. So unbelievably successful. And so it's just been incredible. And I talk at a lot of different events, kind of about the book and some of the themes of the book, and really about what's wrong with insurance today, where are those areas of opportunity to innovate, because a lot of startups don't know that. So they're technology, right? And it's a great technology, but they don't know, like, applied to what, solutions search of a problem.
Right.
And then the second part is, why haven't we been disrupted yet? And I tell people, this isn't a cab ride from here to the airport, right? This is a financial instrument and a legal contract all rolled into one, right? And if you get it wrong, it's a big deal. Like, you buy a policy and then you have a claim and you say, is my claim covered? And the answer is no. It's not like, well, I want to, exchange it for one that did cover my claim. It doesn't work that way, right? The third part is some of the emerging technologies that we all hear about at ITC, Insuretech Connect every year. AI, Internet of Things, blockchain, I could go on, right? That really are changing the way that insurance can be done, right? So we had some limitations before. We wanted to do things a certain way, we're unable to for lots of good reasons. Well, now with these emerging technologies, we may be able to do them differently. And so it's not just about new technologies, but new ways of thinking. And that's really what part 4 is about. It's really about, okay, so now that we have all this, what are some of those possibilities, and where do I think the future of insurance is going? I certainly don't have a crystal ball, but it's really meant to stimulate discussion. And I've really loved engaging with readers on kind of their feedback and their thoughts on where all this is headed.
Did you make the general session this morning?
I did not, unfortunately.
This morning they were touching upon that same subject. First of all, making insurance the way the Insuretechs are doing it. It's more modular. Mm-hmm. So it's coming from so many different places, and the thing that they pounded upon over and over again was that we needed disruption, that this is necessary. When you look at, we have not been disrupted yet. The way other industries, other places have been disrupted, that when you look at our disruption, it's like so small and everybody's been in kind of a panic over it. Yes. And really, we need it, and our clients themselves need that disruption.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that they mentioned that was really interesting this morning was the fact that billions of dollars in that you use to put these programs together, put these things together to do all this paperwork, you can hand a lot of it over to your customers, and they're waiting to take it over on their phone. They're waiting to do that. That's work that you don't have to do, and it's billions of dollars in savings for the people who put this stuff together.
They also gave a really good example of the banking industry and the disruption that they went through and the transformation. So if you go back even 20 years ago, people were receiving paychecks, right? They were receiving an actual check. They were getting in their car, driving over to the bank, depositing that money. Then they would write out checks, They would write out checks to pay their bills. That's all gone, right? Like, you receive the money. I mean, one guy, and he was like, I don't even know what amount of money, probably. It's like you receive the money and everything is on auto pay, right? And so that's changed that landscape so much.
But it made me think of you about 2 years ago when you first were able to take a photo of the check and It was and deposited directly with the phone, and she was like, "Oh my God, Dad, this is so awesome!"
Yes. So what else do you have in the pipeline coming up? Where are you going to be going?
Oh my gosh! So I'm going to be in. Let me think about this. I know this is in random order, okay? So, but I'm going to London in a couple weeks. So I'm really excited about that. And then I'm giving a talk at a conference that's hosted by Insurance Post, which is a publication over there, at kind of a countryside getaway. So they asked if I was going to be the after dinner and before pudding speaker. So that was an offer I couldn't refuse. And so then I'm going to be in Des Moines, Iowa. So really excited as part of their Insuretech Week.
We were in Des Moines a couple of months ago.
Des Moines is very, very impressive. The things that they're doing there for us, it was just, wow, this has become the center of insurance.
Absolutely. It's a big hub, absolutely, and lots of disruption. So you don't necessarily think about Des Moines, Iowa as being that, but it absolutely is. I'm going to be going to Charlotte, North Carolina, going to New York City, so excited about that. And then I'm actually going to go to Sao Paulo, Brazil at the beginning of November. So I'm super thrilled about that. Never been to South America before, so that's
very good. And you were just in Vienna.
I just came from Vienna last week, so for the Magic of Innovation conference, so which is great. Vienna is a beautiful city, and got a lot of sightseeing in, and I had a great time. They had a beautiful studio, beautiful facility, and being able to learn from people from different countries about what are some of their challenges and what are some of the successes. It's always good to shift your perspective, and so that's why I really enjoy the few times that I do get to be able to do some international travel.
Absolutely, whenever we can. We just came back.
I know
from
you
China
guys do, absolutely.
We went into Vienna as well.
We even enjoy it for the same reason, doing the international interviews, because we learn so much of what's going on in insurance in other parts of the world, whether it be Africa, Australia, Germany, what's going on out there. We just recently did an interview with some folks from Poland, and that's going to be airing very soon.
Oh, very exciting.
Very, very exciting Insuretech folks there.
And what I love about, particularly some of those that are more of a developing market, that don't necessarily have a more established insurance market, is you don't hear that's the way we've always done it, because they haven't always done it a certain way. And so it's very much greenfield in terms of what could this be. And so I see more and more what I call reverse innovation. So some of these more developing countries that we're thinking, we're going to pass them our technology and best practices and know-how. Well, they're actually showing us the ways to innovate in more mature markets such as the U.S. and Europe. And so I find that extremely stimulating. And having some of the international delegations here on site, in particular, I was in Istanbul, Turkey in in April. And so being able to see them here again and connect and follow up and see the progress they made in 6 months has been very exciting.
Very good.
And of course, one of the other things that's so challenging of doing business here in the U.S. Insurance business is the regulatory landscape, right? You're dealing with 53 U.S. jurisdictions, so that's a challenge, and so a lot of times when companies are coming from overseas and they're coming in here, they're like, oh no, this is like so difficult. Or if you're making that transition from banking to insurance, you're like, what? We're having to deal with all of these state regulators. But hey, we built a nice little niche business from that.
But what I would say, Arleen, is, and I hadn't thought about this until last week in Vienna, many of those companies, those carriers, they do business in many different countries, right? It might be 20 or 30 different countries. So those are 20 or 30 different regulators too. So we talk about state-based regulation, how difficult it is in the U.S. Well, they face similar challenges over there, and that's just assumed because it's different countries. You don't really question the fact that you have a different regulator in each country, the way we kind of bemoan that sometimes in the U.S. So I loved it as like, this is not, this is something that it can be easily overcome, and I shouldn't say super easily, but they know that that's part of the landscape, and they just tackle it head on. And I love that attitude. They don't use it as an excuse.
Like we said, that's how we've run our business in the last 20 years at Ilsa, which is letting people know, hey, the situation is this. If you're coming into the country, or if you're in the country and you need help with regulatory compliance, we do that. We do that all over the world.
We used to say at my old company, those are gravity issues. You can complain about gravity all day long, but you're not going to change it.
Right, it's going to be there.
So just accept it as a fact and move on.
Get to work.
That's right. Well, thank you so much, Rob, for joining us.
Of course.
And for your time.
Absolutely.